Yo, what's up, people? This your boy Von B, and I have lately I have had my ups and downs when it comes to like modern games, and I've been sticking with I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter Wilds because everything else seems kind of generic or whatever. So you tend to have conversation with just about your friends, and you kind of go round and round with the same thoughts. And I noticed that the drinker had a video on this, so I thought I'd check it out. All right, so let's get into this. Okay, here we go.
You know, I'm old enough to remember a crazy, wild time back in the depths of history where you could buy a game, put it in your games console, and guess what? It would just work.
What? Were you saying something?
Yeah.
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
No 5-hour installs, no queue of hard drive devouring updates, no laundry list of patches just to get the thing running. You just put it in and played it. And the best part is you could keep playing it as long as you still had the disc and didn't decide to use it as a coffee coaster or a doorstop. It didn't matter if the developer went out of business, or the publisher decided to revoke the rights, or some idiot managed to crash the company's server. None of that.
Yeah, this was when gamers actually ran gaming companies. What happened is they started making money. And once that happened, corporations moved in and everything became about profit because unless you make more money than you made last year, then it's not considered a successful year. That's why that happened. When it was a niche thing for nerds and geeks, these corporations didn't care.
That made any difference because it was just you in the game and it was yours to own and use forever. Modern gaming is a very different beast though, and that's what I really want to talk about today. Like, how many times have you bought a game in recent years, put the disc in, all excited to play it, only to find yourself staring at an install progress bar for the next 3 hours? So you put the console into rest mode and come back a few hours later to find that the whole thing is ground to a halt because you didn't have enough hard drive space to accommodate the massive bloated monstrosity that you're trying to cram in there, so you have to start deciding which other games get to live or die, like some doctor performing triage after a mass casualty event. But that...
Yeah. This is one of the main reasons why my main console on the previous generation was Xbox, because at least the Xbox would tell you ahead of time that you didn't have enough space, whereas the PlayStation 4 did not do that. They fixed that a little bit on the PlayStation 5, where it would actually inform you that you do not have enough space, but you didn't have to worry about any of this stuff. Before they installed hard drives, you just put the game in and it would play, and that was it.
is just the beginning. You want to stream the game or play with your friends online, do you? Well, that'll be another 10 hours of patches and updates just to get a barely functional version of the game that can talk to all the other versions floating around out there. Then there's the random updates that always...
All right. That has been an issue in PC for decades. So I remember playing like a LAN party and then everyone having to make sure that your drivers are updated and this, that, and the third or whatever, so that you can actually talk to each other on the network without having random glitches and all that stuff. And even after you did all of that, you still had problems. So this is not a new thing. What's new is that this is happening on consoles,
seem to happen at the least
which are
convenient
basically
time possible
little PCs
when you
now.
finally manage to carve out a couple of hours to game with your buddies, only to find out that half the group don't have the latest patch containing gimmicky celebrity skins and character models that nobody fucking wants anyway, but for some reason are absolutely mandatory for the game to even function, and it's gonna be at least an hour before they're ready. Then cast your mind forward to the end of this great circle of gaming, when the game itself falls victim to the endless battle for declining hard drive space and has to be deleted to make way for the next piece of bloatware. Then perhaps a few months or years later, you get a hankering to play it again, so you put the game in and brace yourself to go through the whole torturous process again, but oh no, while you were away, the developers decided it was no longer cost effective to maintain the servers, so bye bye online gaming with your friends. But you...
There's a good fighting game by Def Jam, came out early 2000s or something like that. It's like you get all the stars of Def Jam and they wrestle each other. It's like street fights and stuff like that. You cannot, even though I purchased this game and I purchased this game on multiple consoles, I cannot play it on anything because one, it was this was with the beginning of the digital, and I fell for all the digital stuff, and I can't play it because of a licensing issue of a song or something that's on the game. Like it's just like you said, that I can't play it because they don't have license to play this song. Yeah. So
You can still stream it in single player mode, right?
Wrong.
Nope, because without the servers, you can't download all those vital updates that allowed the game to work online in the first place, or just work in general, so what you're stuck with instead is a buggy, unfinished, barely functional piece of shit that cost upwards of $80 and can't do much of anything now except eat up hard drive space. And that's the best case scenario. More and more games these days don't even come on discs at all, so even if you do buy a physical copy, it's literally just an access key for you to download the game itself from the developer's server. And if that
yeah, they should just put like a picture of a middle finger in the box because essentially that is what they're doing. It's like, oh, you want to buy this on digital? Like you don't want to buy this on digital. You want an actual copy of this game? Yeah, F you.
server ever happens to go offline because of technical failures, commercial changes, or the company just straight up going out of business, guess what? You're fucked, and you'll never be able to play that game again. All of this is to say that, well, I kind of fucking hate what gaming's become now. I hate how managing my gaming library's become more convoluted than filing my tax returns, praying I haven't missed out some vital subsection or obscure patch buried 3 menus deep. I hate how buying a new game means embarking on a multi-day emotional rollercoaster just to get the thing fucking working. I hate how everything, even single-player games for some reason, somehow requires an internet connection all the time for no obvious reason, like it'll die of loneliness without constant reassurance.
The crazy part is Microsoft, when they first announced this, Always Online got crucified for this. And what, 6, 7, 8 years later, all of them are doing it. It was like they wanted to do this, but Microsoft was dumb enough to do it first. And just like when Nintendo got crucified for the $80 game, they all want to do it. Nintendo just did it first.
I hate feeling like every game I own is somehow living on borrowed time, like at any moment some asshole developer might decide to pull the plug and shut it all down. But most of all, I miss the simple pleasure of just putting a game in and playing the fucking thing, and knowing that it's mine forever and I could come back to it 10 years from now if I wanted and still be able to pick up where I left off. As a little side note, that really did happen with Final Fantasy VIII on the PlayStation. I got so stuck on the Adele fight back in 1999 that I threw a big hissy fit, chucked the game in a drawer and didn't fire it up again until 2008, found my old save file on the memory card and finally battled my way through to the end almost 10 years after buying it. Fuck, I hate that game. Anyway, I digress.
I'm laughing because, yeah, I've never done that. But I think this is why the retro scene is just so huge. And you don't want to do the emulation because people actually put effort and work into these games, and you kind of want to compensate people for that. But it's getting so hard, and you got to find the console to actually play the thing. Because I still have my Dreamcast, and I still have games for my Dreamcast, so I can still play those. But I wish I would have kept my Wii U. I wish I would have kept my original Xbox. I wish I would have kept my. I couldn't keep the 360 because it died on me. But I wish I would have kept the PlayStation. There's a lot of my older consoles, like right now, I wish I would have kept, because those games are smaller, so most of them would have been still on my hard drive, so I didn't have to download anything. So, I don't know. Maybe I need to go get on the retro thing like everybody else and start looking for this stuff. So it gets to the point where whatever crap that they do, it won't affect me because I'll still have that.
Yes, it seems like I'm not the only one who feels like gamers are getting a bit of a shitty deal these days, which is why the Stop Killing Games movement has gained so much traction over the past few weeks. And I'll be honest, I 100% agree with them. Something has to be done to safeguard gamers and their purchases and guarantee some kind of post-life support for older games. And look, I know we're never going to go back to what we had 20 years ago.
No.
Games now are orders of magnitude bigger and more complex than they were back in the 90s and the 2000s, and it's good that we're still pushing the boundaries of what's technically possible. Although I'd argue that we're kind of reaching the limits of what can be done graphically, but that's another discussion. And yeah, it's nice that developers can fix bugs that might have slipped through playtesting, but holy fuck, we need to reach some kind of compromise with this one because the current model is killing the industry.
All right, I was a game tester for about 10 months. A lot of these bugs don't slip through. What happens is the game has to come out on a certain point, and whatever's done is done. So even though they are aware that there are bugs in the game, and that's what that huge patch at the beginning is about, is because they still work on it and they eventually try to fix it. But when you fix one thing, it breaks another and it just turns into a whole thing. And a lot of it has to do with these timetables that they give themselves, like Christmas and summer and blah, 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 blah. That in the past, they used to work on the game until it was finished. And then they put it out. That's how, when gaming was a niche, that's what they did. Now, because again, corporations have gotten involved and you got to hit quarterly reports and there's all this other crap that gets involved in this stuff, then you got to hit the time it needs to come out. Doesn't matter if it's finished. As long as it works on the, but what happened is the last few weeks of the testing phase, we were just looking for game crashing bugs. That's it. So while it's annoying of character running in place and you can't get in this or whatever, it doesn't make the game not work. And even those get missed, or they don't get fixed in time.
If I might be so bold on this one, I would suggest 3 major changes to how things are done. 1, a guarantee that every game must be shipped in playable condition.
Yeah, but that goes back to what I just said. They look for that is still playable. It may be an annoying bug, but it doesn't crash the game. And they get to the point where they can't fix that. And that's what the day one patch is about, is to fix that. So you got to get off of the corporate timetable. That will actually help. If you get off the corporate timetable and you do like what Nintendo does, is the game will come out when it comes out. When it's done, that's when Miyamoto puts the game out. Not because it's Christmas, not because it's whatever. Then that'll fix that.
Doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but it at least has to be playable through from start to finish without a single patch or update. Any company that fails to meet this bare minimum requirement should be subject to heavy fines and possible removal of their publishing license for repeat offenders. Yes, it'll probably mean longer development cycles, but you know what? It's absolutely worth it in the long run. 2. A third-party repository of all patches and updates for obsolete games, which can be freely accessed by anyone with a valid copy of said game. Any company which is removing support for their older games or shutting down its servers should be legally required to move all of their support material over to this third-party server and pay a portion of all future sales revenue towards its upkeep. 3. An end to always online functionality. Any game should be playable offline no matter the style or the genre. I don't need my every move and decision being constantly fed back and shared for vaguely defined research purposes. And if I want to play a game on my own in my house with no internet connection, then that is my fucking right. And it should be yours too. Now, I don't pretend to know if any of these ideas can or will be implemented, but goddamn, something needs to change in the industry because just...
Yeah, you have to divest corporations out of the industry. It needs to go back to being games made by gamers for gamers. So the only thing I can think of that you could possibly do to fix this is support indie games, smaller companies, and for smaller companies to not sell out to larger ones. There are plenty of games that are basically super simple that people love. Like my godson loves Roblox games. Those are about as simple as you can get, and they play them to death. It does not. These games do not need to be this big. They do not need to. You do not need to spend $300 million on this. Every game does not need to be Call of Duty. There's one Call of Duty. Let Call of Duty be Call of Duty. Everything else does not have to be Call of Duty. Just make a simple game. Sell it for a reasonable price. You'll make a small profit. put that small profit into your next game. But as long as you got corporations involved in this, that ain't never happening.
Just like the bloated and overpriced software that it produces now, it feels like it's collapsing under its own greed, weight, and excess. And well,
Yeah, that's what corporations
people have
do.
had enough now. I know I have. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
All right. Well, like I said, you pull corporations out of this, that'll fix most of your problems. Then you put gamers in charge. Like when you look at like any of these showcases and they show all the people who are in charge and who are talking, do any of them feel like they're gamers, or are they corporate types pretending to be gamers to try to sell you a product? So I don't know. That was interesting. Not the direction that I thought he was going to go in. He didn't. He typically talks about the message and all that stuff. And while what he said is pretty much true, that just shows you how messed up everything is. That even if you take out all the woke crap, the gaming industry is still just screwed. You know. All right. If you made it to the end, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and all that stuff. And I am out. Peace.